My name is Max Tarbox. I'm the Chapter 11 trustee for CapRock Winery Company and CapRock Real Estate Holdings. As you are aware, on July 12, 2010, we conducted a public auction where we sold all the real property and equipment and assets of CapRock Winery. The high bid was made by Gruet of Gruet Winery Company of Albuquerque, New Mexico, in the amount of $6.5 million. Since the completion of the auction, I have been notified by Mr. Gray that he is unable to complete that transaction and therefore is withdrawing from the process. As the Chapter 11 trustee, it's my duty and job to maximize the value of this property for the benefit of all the creditors and for the benefit of the Lubbock community. And therefore, since this is such a beautiful operational winery and a prime investment opportunity, I've decided to conduct a second auction. Yesterday evening, I filed an emergency motion with the United States Bankruptcy Court to conduct an auction to be held on August 3rd, 2010. The court considered my motion this morning at 11:30 and approved my request to hold a second auction. The auction will be conducted by Williams Auction Company, the same company that conducted the first auction. However, it will be a sealed bid auction where the interested bidders will convey their sealed bid to the auction company. The auction will terminate at midnight, August 3rd. I will report the winning bidder to the court on August 4th, and subject to the court approving it and subject to any parties objecting to the process, hopefully the winning bidder will be approved at that hearing. So that's my statement, and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. And also we have Mr. Bridges here from Williams Auction Company that can answer questions as well.
The last auction had an unstated minimum price that had to be met. Will this be an as-is, or will it be a minimum price against?
The major secured creditors does have an auction reserve. That amount is not disclosed, but that reserve will still stay in place.
Can you make any comments as to why Mr. Gruet is pulling out?
No, I cannot, other than his inability to come up with enough money to make the deposit, which was 10% of the purchase price, or the high bid. And he just simply told me he could not do that.
What did he tell you when he initially bought it?
Well, when he initially bought it, he basically remained here for interviews with the press, I think for about 10 or 15 minutes after the auction. I didn't really get a chance to talk to him during his interviews. Afterwards, I was around here when he signed the contract, and then I signed the contract as well.
So you did have talks, and he said, "Yeah, I can take care of this, no problem."
I have talked to Mr. Gray several times, and at least initially, I knew he was trying very hard to get the financing. I just don't think he had it. I know he doesn't have it.
How often, you're a bankruptcy trustee, how often does this happen that someone buys something at auction and then can't come up with the money to actually pay what they bought at the auction?
Speaking on behalf of myself and also on behalf of Williams Auction Company, this is very, very rare. He was given a list of the terms and conditions of the auction before he started bidding, and I think he simply couldn't get the backing of his fellow owners of Gruet Winery.
Is there any type of penalty that gets paid for him, I guess, wasting everybody's time by winning an auction that he can't pay for?
We're going to go ahead and proceed with the second auction, and then we're going to pursue what legal remedies we're going to take or try to obtain.
What
might
would be
those
your
be?
options?
What might those be?
It might be seeking performance under the original contract.
Not legal speak, that means that you would try to make him pay the $6.5 million, even though he's already said he can't.
The only thing I can say to this is that it's premature because we don't know if we have any damages yet. But I have hired an attorney to look into this matter.
Well, so how disappointing is it for you as a bankruptcy trustee to see something like this that's rare happen, where you think you have a bidder, think you have a buyer, and then it falls through?
It is very disappointing because, number one, I felt like Gruet Winery was the ideal purchaser since they have markets in 49 states. And I thought they'd be perfect to establish a winery in West Texas and be able to market that product all over the United States. So we're very disappointed. But we did have several other very capable, qualified bidders that I think will also be able to do a good job if they end up buying the winery.
Yeah, along those lines, if you're going to have a sealed bid, you must already have a group of bidders in mind that you know will be bidding for it.
Yes, and Williams Auction Company is very sophisticated in publicizing the auction. They'll be sending out emails and blitzes and telephone calls and so forth to the people that participated in the previous auction and any other party that might want to be interested. So I feel very confident they'll do a good job.
How much time will bidders have to spend? Will it be simply open the August 3rd, or is there a period of time leading up to it where bids will be accepted?
My understanding is that they can submit their sealed bid anytime up to midnight August 3rd. We already have one bid already.
Mr. Gruet's been in a significant amount of trouble. What kind of background checks or how often do you look into these people's past that are thinking about purchasing the winery?
Well, the problem with a public auction is we don't have any opportunity to look into their past. I mean, we do know about their reputations, and we obviously know that the Gruet Winery is a very excellent reputation. We don't know about the personal history of the people that show up to bid.
But that's different with the sealed auction, is that right?
How's it different?
Well, I was asking. You said with a public auction we don't have any opportunity. With a private sealed auction like this, do you have an opportunity to look at the
We will have an
backgrounds?
opportunity in order to participate in the sealed auction. The people that do want to bid have to put up a bid deposit of $100,000. So they obviously will be serious bidders to even participate in it, and it will give us an opportunity to raise any questions about it if we need to.
What is CapRock valued at right now?
CapRock, well, the best way you can value an auction property is what it brings in an auction. Of course, we had bidders, not only the high bid was not only $6.5 million, but we had bidders that were willing to bid, above $5 million to get it to that $6.5 million range. So we're hoping we get near that point again.
When did he notify you again that he was not going to be able to come up with this?
Mr. Gruet, a week ago, was in France, I believe, trying to raise money and backing. When he came back from France, that's when I started getting uncomfortable about his willingness to pursue the sale. He did notify me at one time that he was going to not be able to purchase the property. And then he notified me again that he was trying to get financing, and he notified me again this morning that he simply could not purchase the property.
So you just found out this morning that this was the final...
He said what I was concerned about for the last week.
Right.
Yes.
What was your reaction when you were still in limbo in discussions with this man, when you probably heard some of the news reports about his problems in New Mexico?
Well, I was already discussing the possibility with Williams Auction Company to conduct another auction because we were not getting his earnest money deposit. And I did not start hearing rumors about his other legal issues until this last weekend. We'd already made our decision to go ahead and try to set up another auction.
Would that have bothered you that the winery went to somebody who has a history of PWI charges as well as drinking while he worked?
It would bother me, but let me emphasize that as far as our position is concerned, we were considering this buyer to be Gruet Winery, not Mr. Laurent Gruet. So, and I know the Gruet Winery has an excellent reputation and has an excellent financial statement. As far as Mr. Lawrence Gruet's problems, I really wasn't aware of them, and I really hadn't focused.
How functional is CapRock, and how soon does it need to get an owner in order to stay functional?
Okay, the winery is completely functional. The reason there was like a lot of activity 2 weeks ago is because we had the auction here. The winery goes into action when the grape season starts, which will be end of August, really beginning in September. And the reason we were scheduling our auction in middle July or early July is so the buyer would have a chance to be in place here once that season started. And what this winery is involving grape crushing. They crush the grapes in the West Texas area and send the grape fluids down to the hill country or other wineries, and also does his own winery processing. But that all kicks in next month.
So does this set you back as far as...
If we can get a buyer, a buyer will have the same concerns that we have, and that is if he's going to buy it, he has to come in and take over, prior to the grape season, or the grape harvest, I guess is the right word.